Hi, just can you give us a brief history about this animal SOS, if you mind?
Yes, so Animal SOS was founded in 2007 by a lady called Kim Cooling, who is a UK social worker who, after 20 odd years of visiting Sri Lanka, she saw the suffering of the street animals, and that's when the project was born. So by 2009, we was a BOI registered charity. And that's when the sanctuary first opened. We opened with one site and a handful of dogs, maybe 4 or 5 dogs. Today we have almost 12 acres of land, 2,000 animals, and a whole community project from homing to outreach to rabies programs.
So one of the main things that we try to focus on here at SOS is doing outreach programs. So these involve getting stray cats and dogs, and also owner dogs as well. We get a lot of people actually bringing their pets to us, and we sterilise them all, and we also give them rabies vaccinations. Obviously, Sri Lanka is a well-known country to have rabies, so we're trying to vaccinate as many animals as possible to eliminate the threat. And we also do a lot of neutering because there's already over 3 million stray dogs here in Sri Lanka. And obviously we do not want that number to get higher and higher, which is, as I said, one of the main reasons that we do sterilisation programmes. We try to control the population, and we also try to do as many as we can locally as well. So if we can't do a big outreach programme, we'll just try and do smaller local ones to control the population in our area, and then we go further afield and we can do larger ones as well, and we get larger numbers of people. As I said, owner dogs as well and cats, they bring their animals to us and we happily sterilise and we vaccinate them at the same time.
What are the main difficulties that you're facing off when you're doing something like this?
The main difficulties are support from the government, support from the communities, from the local people here in Sri Lanka. The one thing that's urgently needed in this country is an Animal Welfare Act. The amount of abuse cases that we see on a daily basis is heartbreaking. And sadly, we just do not have the facilities, the manpower or the support to help them all. So we urgently need the government to bring in an Animal Welfare Act to alleviate the suffering of these poor animals all over the country.
So as Sam just said, obviously here in Sri Lanka, there's no animal welfare law, there's no animal welfare bill. So the suffering that these animals go through, and there is no punishment for the people that do this to the animals, is really horrific. Many of the animals that we get brought to us, due to the things that have happened to them, a lot of them are disabled. We have over 300 disabled dogs here, and obviously they require a lot of extra specialist care. So we have specialised disabled teams, because a lot of these dogs, they need physiotherapy, they need rehabilitation. Many of them, they have complete loss of movement in their back legs, so they need help getting around, expressing their bladders. So we have specialist teams on both of our sites that give the extra care and attention to these dogs as well. And because a lot of them are also on specialist medications, so they medicate these dogs for us every day, and they really look after them and just give them all the love and the care that they would never get outside of Animal SOS. If it wasn't for us, these animals would die. They would be on the streets in misery and in horrific pain. So we are their only lifeline.
කොහොමද මේ ලංකාවේ කට්ටිය මේ ඇනිමල් SOS එකත් එක්ක තියෙන සම්බන්ධතාවය ගොඩනගා ගන්න? ඒගොල්ලෝ කොහොමද මේකට දායක වෙලා තියෙන්නේ?
ඇත්තටම ක්‍රම දෙකකට දායක වෙනවා. එකක් සේවය සපයලා වේතනයක් ගන්න අය විදිහට, ආධාර සපයලා මේක විශාල පුණ්‍ය කර්මයක් කරගන්න විදිහට, නැත්නම් සමහර අවස්ථාවේදී මගදිගේ හම්බ වෙන අසරණ සත්තු මෙතනට ගෙනත් දීමෙන් ඒ ආකාරයට සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා මේ ඒ ක්‍රම කිව්වේ. එතකොට මේ සේවක පිරිස අපේ 60කට ආසන්න ප්‍රමාණයක් ඉන්නවා. ඉතින් මම හිතන විදිහට මේ ප්‍රදේශයේම ඉතාම හොඳම වේතනයක්. පසුගිය කොරෝනා සමයේදීත් සම්පූර්ණ වැටුප ගෙවලා මේ අතිකාල දීමනා ගෙවලා සෞඛ්‍ය පැත්තේ සේරම බලලා ඉතාම හොඳ සේවයක් මේගොල්ලන්ට ලැබෙනවා. ඒ අයගෙනුත් ඉතාම හොඳ සේවයක් මේ අසරණ සතුන් වෙනුවෙන් කන්න දීම, නැහැවීම පිරිසුදු කිරීම බෙහෙත් දීම සහ රැකබලා ගැනීම ආදරයෙන් ඔළුව අත ගන්න ගොඩක් කට්ටිය අපි මම දැකලා තියෙනවා. වේතනය නෙමෙයි මේක විශාල පිනක් ලැබෙනවා. දැන් මෙතන අපි හැමදාම 2000කට කැම දෙනවා. 2000කට බෙහෙත් දෙනවා. මේ ඔක්කොම මාවතේ සත්තු එංගලන්තේ සත්තු නෙමෙයි. අපිට අනතුරක් වෙන්න තියෙන සත්තු තමයි මෙතනට ඇවිල්ලා මේ ඒගොල්ලෝගේ ජීවිතාන්තය දක්වා බොහොම සතුටින් කරදරයක් තොරව මේ ගෙවන්නේ.
So here at SOS, we employ a lot of the locals. One, it just helps give back to the community. It provides jobs for them and their families. And we have over 50 workers here working for us. Without them and their help, we couldn't do the job that we do. They really do an outstanding job with the dogs. They really help us look after these dogs. And you can tell just by the way that the staff work, even if they're just going around the site and they're cleaning the site and just making sure, there's no rubbish around, you can tell that they really, really love these dogs. They put their heart and soul into this work. Some days you'll just see the staff and they'll be going around the site, running with the dogs, just having a play with them. And you can tell that they really love their jobs. And it's amazing for the dogs to actually have people here who genuinely care for them. They've escaped their life of abuse on the streets and they've come to a safe haven. And everyone here genuinely loves and cares for these dogs. And you can see it by the way the staff work and just the way, every morning they come to work and they will go and greet the dogs. They will give them a little cuddle. And then they'll carry on with their work. And, the dogs follow them. They want to play. They want more cuddles. If we could cuddle them all day, we would. But unfortunately, we can't. We do have a job to do. But it is amazing for these dogs to have a support network, which is what our staff are for them. As I said, if it wasn't for the staff, we wouldn't be able to do as much work as they do. The staff really do support us and they do such an amazing job with these dogs.
රජයක් වශයෙන් මොකක්ද සිද්ධ විය යුතු යුතුකම ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ ප්‍රොජෙක්ට්ස් වලට සාමාන්‍යයෙන්?
අතවශයෙන්ම ඉස්සෙල්ලම කියන්න පුළුවන් මේ සත්ත්ව හිංසන පිළිබඳ නීති හරිම බොහොම පැරණි දඩය රුපියල් 100ක් පහුගිය දවස්වල ඔබතුමාලා දකින්න නැති බල්ලොන්ට වෙඩි තිබ්බා. උණු වතුර ගහලා තිබුණා. කූඩවල හිර කරලා තිබුණා. ඊට පස්සේ ඇක්සරිච්ච නැති පැටවු පාරට ගෙනත් දාලා තිබුණා. ඉතින් ඒ නීති මදිහින්දා තමයි නීතිවල දඬුවම් ප්‍රමාණය මදිහින්දා තමයි මේ වගේ වෙන්නේ. මේ අලුත් පනතක් අපිට ආරංචි වුණා සම්මත කරගන්න යනවා කියලා. ඒක සම්මත කරගත්තොත් යම්කිසි නීති රාමුවකට මේ අපේ මිනිස්සු යටත් කරලා ආදරය, කරුණාව, දයාව, අනුකම්පාව එක්ක මේ දේ වෙන්න ඕන කියන එක මගේ එක මතයක්. අනිත් එක දැන් මේ සේරම මෙතන අපේ 2000කට ආසන්න බල්ලෝ ප්‍රමාණයක් ඉන්නවා. මේ 2000ම එළිය හිටියා නම් කී දෙනෙක් හපලා පිස්සු බල රෝගී හැදිලා එහෙම ලොකු විනාශ වෙයිද කියලා අපිට කියන්න බෑ. නමුත් අපි මේ 2000 රැකගෙන ඇතුලේ ඉන්නේ වගේ කොටුවක ඉන්නේ. ඒකෙන් වෙන සේවය ඔය පවතින පරිපාලන ඒකක තේරුම් ගත්ත මදි කියලා මම හිතනවා. එතකොට මේක ස්වේච්ඡා කටයුත්තක් හින්දා මීට වැඩිය අවධානය යොමු කරලා දැන් ඔබතුමා දන්නවා රුපියල් 20000කට වැඩි රේබිස් ඉන්ජෙක්ෂන් එකක්. ඉතින් එහෙමනම් කොච්චර වියදමක්ද? දැන් මෙතනින් මේ වැළැක්වීම prevention is better than cure. ඒකින්ද මේ මම හිතන්නේ මේ සහයෝගයේ හැම පැත්තෙන්ම හැම ආයතනෙම ශ්‍රී ලංකා වාසී ජනතාව, මේ ප්‍රදේශවාසී ජනතාව, එනික රජයේවල්, ප්‍රාදේශ සභා, නගර සභා ඒ හැම දෙයක්ම ඊට වැඩිය මේ ගැන හිතනවා නම් මේක විසිට් කරලා හරි කමක් නැහැ හිතනවා නම් ඒක මම දකින්න දෙයක්. එහෙම වෙනවා නම් බොහොම හොඳයි කියලා.
All right, what type of a relationship do you have with Bow Bow organization?
So we've worked quite closely with Bow Bows for about the past 5 years. Bow Bow supports us massively, and likewise we try to do the same with them as well. We get a lot of cases from Colombo, and if people are unable to bring the dogs to us, or if we are unable to collect, Bow Bow really helps us out by transporting the sick and injured animals to us. They do it out of the goodness of their hearts. They never charge us anything for transport, and they never ask for anything in return. Recently Bow Bow have just done a fundraiser for us, and they managed to raise 500 kilos of rice for us, which is an amazing amount. Obviously with the amount of dogs we have, it will go a long way, and it will keep these dogs fed. Like I said, Bow Bow is building towards their own sanctuary, but it's not just for cats and dogs. Bow Bow do a lot of work with rescuing livestock. So whether this be, cows, pigs, because that is also quite a large problem here in Sri Lanka. And I don't think people realise that as much. People just instantly think, it's the street dogs and the street cats. They don't actually realise that the livestock is also a problem as well. People see them as a nuisance, and just like with the dogs, people beat the livestock and they try to kill the livestock. So Bow Bow does an amazing job with rescuing them as well. They need just as much support as we do. It's not just us, it's them as well. So people really, really need to support them. They also are working towards the same goal that we are, which is getting the Animal Welfare Act in place. It's a huge problem in Sri Lanka, whether it be for dogs, cats, livestock, and this act really, really needs to be put in place. Once it is, people can then be held accountable for their actions for what they're doing to these poor, innocent animals. So as a country, everyone really, really needs to work to getting this Animal Welfare Act in place.
All right, thank you so much once again to sharing your story with us. So finally, what do you have to say? What's your dream?
First of all, I'd just like to say thank you to Bow Bow for their continuous support. Not only Bow Bow, but to all of the Sri Lankan community that do actually support us, and to all our supporters all over the world. Without them, we wouldn't have made it through the last year, that's for sure. Really, our hope for the future is that we can continue this project. Work with other organisations, work with governments, and to just bring some education and harmony to the animals of Sri Lanka.
And we would love to expand as well. Obviously, every day we take in more and more cases. So another goal of ours is hopefully we can get more land, we can expand our project, and we can just get a bigger area for these dogs to roam free and live out the rest of their lives with no suffering and just be happy and joyful.